Don't be shy, I can still reply. Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic, back with his weekly comic book review video, and it's a pretty underwhelming week for me. I have 3 books to talk about this week. Just before I head into that, yes, there was that whole hoo-ha about Google Plus and YouTube. I was almost crying at a lot of people's videos. I still don't quite understand what's going on. All I can gather from it is that anything that was before the 7th of November when they made the switch, I cannot now reply to those comments. Anything from the 7th, I'm fine, I can reply. It's not that different. But then you get all those emails and alerts on your Google Plus account. But I have my GhostCritic account with YouTube, and then my Google account, which is my web address. So everything should be alright. I think people got a lot worried last week because my comment rate went right down. I usually get at least twice as many. Maybe it was just because the video was really long again. I promise this one is a lot shorter. Okay, we crack off with Astro City issue 6. And I gave issue 5 a pretty hard time and I was a little bit disappointed with it. But with issue 6, it's top, back on there, back on form. I love this issue. It kicks off with a big kind of superheroic villain versus goodie battle. We have this new villain, Allmaster. Where's he come from? And that's where it leads into going back a week or two to how this all transpired, and we come to our main character at the bottom here, Thatcher Jerome. Thatcher is, well, he works for the mob, and he sees an opportunity here because this issue links right back to the very beginning of this run, where we had the introduction of the doorway that ended up and just appeared on the riverside, and what has now been dubbed as the Ambassador, this alien person that nobody really knows much about, but seems to be quite friendly and just wants to learn about Earth and humanity in general. But obviously Thatcher sees this as an opportunity. There's a lot of talk about doors opening in this issue and opportunities, and obviously those opportunities are not always going to be for the fulfillment of people's being better than they actually are, and some people will take advantage. And this is basically what Thatcher is doing. He's setting up kind of like a shakedown, hoping that if he gives the Ambassador what he needs now, hopefully sometime down in the future this Ambassador will help him out. We have Thatcher, we see his kind of family life. He's a married man, he has kids that have all gone away, but he still wants to make things better for his wife. It's a nice little scene between husband and wife, and just their kind of dynamic between the two. You know, the father who's very hard on the kids, the mother who just wants them to, you know, learn by their own mistakes. But what transpires is these meetings between Thatcher and Ambassador. Thatcher steals something from inside the doorway. The Ambassador lets Thatcher come in, so they obviously can deliver the things that the Ambassador wants. And they're crazy things like iPads and grapefruits and just random objects that this Ambassador is going to glean some kind of information from. but he steals a box from inside the ambassador's home. These are the Oblati sauna capsules, which hold this kind of gas that, if opened and I guess ingested, turn you into or feeds off your essence and creates you into that essence. So we have where the origin of All Master comes from. We have the moral dilemma right at the very end over how Thatcher will now use these kind of orbs, capsules. And it is all just nicely wrapped up. And it is, as usual, Bizet doing that kind of, we have this superhero universe, but it's the small people, the humans of Earth, that he likes to centre on and push a story forward. It's a great issue, like I said, back on form. Batman issue 25 came out this week. Can you see it? Can you see it? I don't often talk about the price of comic books. I understand I have a full-time job that affords me the luxury of buying these. I know they're expensive, but when they hike up the price by £1, by $1, just because you put a fancy black embossed card cover, I take issue with that. I don't really follow kind of like the chart, so to speak, how these comics books sell, but I'm probably pretty certain that Batman must be one of their top selling comics. People are going to go out and buy this in their hundreds of thousands, I would guess. So you're making money off this, DC, just for a black cardboard. And it's not even like there's any decent artwork on there. It's the symbol we've already seen, the 0 year little Batman emblem and the Batman embossed sign title on the top. I felt a little bit cheated this week buying this. But what about the story inside? I'll put it down because you can't see anything at all. Right, the story. The issue, the main part of it, the main story, not the backup story, but the main story is bookend by an army troop that are making their way into this position in like a Nigerian desert, and what they find is a door in the ground, obviously leading to some sort of bunker, and that's where it stops at the start. And then right at the end you see the army troop decimated, the trucks that they've come in are aflame, and you see a scorpion on a hand and the helmet with the words Tokyo Moon on it. If they're clues to what has happened, I'm none the wiser, I don't know. Is it introducing a new villain for Batman? I don't know why, but the idea that this was Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it, is this a pointer to him? I don't know. That just kind of went in my mind. But the big bulk of this book is obviously the start of the arc within this 0 year arc, which is Dark City. And while this has been all kicked off by the Riddler, he's mentioned very little in this issue. Instead, we have, obviously, Gotham is in darkness and riots are going on everywhere. But within all the riots, we have, I say a new villain, but he's based very much on an old villain going way back in the history of Detective Comics. But he looks very different. This villain is going around killing off ex-scientists for Wayne Tech who were researching into kind of bones and the like. And while this is a good issue, and it has some it has nice moments in it. The introduction of the Batmobile and the kind of fun that this recently born Batman is having with it. There's cameos from Pamela Isley and Lucius Fox. But it shows Batman as a not so very well trained. He's still learning his work really as a Batman. He gets spotted at a crime scene by the Gotham police. Now our Batman now would never have been found like that. So it's nice to see that he's still learning. He's still, you know, learning his trade, so to speak. So that was nice. I still have a little bit of issue with the colouring. I've heard that because it doesn't have that pizzazz, it doesn't have that zing, the bright colours that it has in the past, and it has kind of been explained, or I've heard people maybe pushing the thought forward that this is because it starts in an earlier time. We're talking, I don't know, was it 5 years earlier? And so the colours reflect that, a more muted, subtle tones to the colour. It just doesn't stand out for me that much. Saying that, it's still a great issue. Batman, I'm always going to be buying it. I don't think it has the impact that Scott Snyder's previous events have had, whether that's because it's such a long event and we have these kind of minuscule arcs within them that doesn't have that same impact. We'll see. It may be that it's better read as a trade. And we finished the video off. Yes, it's that quick this week. It's a new #1 from Image, one that I have been looking forward to for a while. It's called Umbral, and it is of the kind of dark fantasy genre. So we have a book that's kind of full of magic, conspiracies, there's murder, there's shadowy black beasties. It's very kind of Lord of the Rings, to the point where they have created a map of the land that we are going to be shown as this title progresses. It's basically about this girl on the front. She seems to be our main protagonist, called Rascal, and she has befriended the son, Prince Arthur. It's not Arthur, it's Arthur. And they witness, or at least they see the aftermath of the slaying of the royal family while an eclipse is going on. I am not going to say that this is the most original piece of work. It certainly kind of pilfers tropes from the fantasy genre. You have Rascal, who appears to be kind of like our unassuming heroine of the title. She just happens to be friends, even though she's like a thief. She happens to be friends with the prince of this country. We have the rituals that are a way to open dark portals and pathways. It's not an original story, but maybe the guys who are creating this are just setting us up, and we might find ourselves going through some very different paths that a genre title of fantasy usually goes down. I love the artwork. It's very dark. The monsters are suitably scary. There's plenty of action, and we have this world setting up with plenty of characters to enjoy. And there's a little kind of twist halfway through. So if you like dark fantasy, if you like Lord of the Rings kind of thing, Umbral probably will be right down your alley. And there we have it. That's this week's comics. I'm sorry it's so short. It's just one of my light weeks. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any more. And please comment in the box below. I will reply. I will reply. Bye.